Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name's Janice and I'm a Thermomix consultant. So for the next week, I started this on the 1st of January and today is day 8. Now our sourdough, we're doing a sourdough starter and it's nowhere near ready to start. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to finish up this video today, show you what stage I'm at, and then we'll start afresh. Start a new video. So we're going to call this week 1, and I'll just show you what went on in the first week, and then I'll start a fresh video tomorrow to continue on with the starter. So there's been a few ups and downs, but today I've woken up, to some nice bubbles. So I'm going to give that a stir up, and then I will feed it. So let's go. So it is New Year's Eve, or New Year's Eve, it's New Year's Day, and New Year, new me. I'm going to start on sourdough. I'm going to start a sourdough starter. Now, I had one a few years ago, but I killed it with neglect, and I made my own to start. And then I was thinking that was what I used, but I've actually now remembered it. Some of the people I worked with gave me some of their starter, and that's what I used after that, because mine, I killed mine, then I used theirs for quite a few years before I managed to kill it too. So I want to have a go at making my own sourdough again. I love sourdough, and someone's asked me if I can have a go at making chocolate sourdough, because we saw someone on Instagram making this beautiful chocolate chopped chip sourdough loaf. So that's what my ultimate aim is. But to start off with, I've got to get a healthy starter. So there is a recipe on cookie dough, which I will find. So if I go into my week, I've saved it to my week. And there it is there. So let's start this. Now, very first thing is it says to use rye flour. I cannot buy rye flour. So I'm going to use some wholemeal flour and some baker's flour. So rightio, it says to put a 2 litre jar or bottle onto the mixing bowl lid. Now this is not 2 litres. This is actually, when my mother passed away a couple of years ago, this was one of the things I claimed for myself, I kept, and they are coffee jars. So I'm pretty sure it was Nescafe, because that's what Mum and Dad drank, was Nescafe Blend 43. And she's got quite a collection of them. There's 3 different sizes, and this is the medium size. So even though it says to use a 2 litre bottle, this is what I'm going to do, because I'm not strictly going to be following the Thermomix sourdough starter recipe. I don't know that I want to make that much sourdough starter. So rightio, so we're going to start off with this, and then I'll see how I go. So it says to place a storage jar or bottle and weigh in 70 grams of rye flour. So I'm going to do 35 grams of this one, whole grain. That's 37 right here. And then I'll make it up to 70 with this one. I probably should have got something smaller to measure it out with. box. There it is. There we go. And now we're going to set it aside. Okay. Made a bit of a mess on that. Okay. Oh, look at that. Storing my basket for later date. Okay. Check in the bowl. There's nothing in there. And set aside. Set the flour aside. Now, I always check in the bowl to see what's in there, just to make sure that I've got nothing in there. So twice over the Christmas, New Year cooking period, because I was rushing, I used the pre-wash setting a lot, and then I'd come back to start the new recipe, and I did it with cheese both times. Threw cheese in there and then realised it still had the pre-wash liquid in there. So luckily I only ever do it one block at a time so I can weigh it, and it splashed when I dropped it in. So twice I did that. So not just worried about chopping up your measuring cup or your butterfly whisk or something. You've also got to make sure there's nothing in there, nothing food-like. So rightio, lesson learned, maybe. 100 grams of water. So I am doing a bit of Googling and YouTubing and seeing what I want to do. And I've got a couple of friends that make sourdough who are guiding me as well. So we will be learning together. Okay? And now we're going to pop the lid on and we're going to warm this up. 1 minute, 37 degrees, speed 1. Rightio. So it says to pour into the jar and mix well until combined. Turn it round. Here, let's see what it says. Mix well until combined. Cover jar with muslin or chucks cloth and set aside in a warm place for 12 hours. Okay, I'll stop doing that. So, we've got to see if it rises. So this is what you can either use, what is it, a rubber band or packing tape, and just pop it round your, oh sorry, I should look at what I'm videoing. Pop it round where your the level, and you can see if it rises. So rightio, I'm going to cover that and I'm going to set it aside, and I will be back when we get to the next day. Okay, so we lost our audio for this little segment. I think the microphone that I've got's playing up, and we're going to have a look at this. We had to stir it after 12 hours, but I did forget and had to run downstairs in the middle of the night to do it. And there was a bit of liquid on top, which I now know means that the starter is hungry and needs feeding. But anyway, we'll have a look at this. There's a few bubbles on top. You can see, I can't quite get the camera, obviously. You can see that bit of bubbles in it. So anyway, so we've got this is our first feeding, which is we're going to add 100 grams of flour and 100 grams of water, which we've warmed up to 37 degrees. Now, if we go to those three little lines and go to our recently cooked, we can go back to where we left off in that recipe. So if you see on the recipe, there's those two little lines which are pause. So if you select the recipe, it will ask us if we want to resume, restart, or cancel. So if I select resume, it'll take me right back to that, to where I was. So rightio, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to weigh out the flour, I'm going to heat the water, and then I'm going to mix it all up. And then we will be back tomorrow for our next feeding. Okay, we're up to day 3, I think it is. And that's what we've got. It's not real bubbly, it's not rising. But if we do that, I'd love you to be able to see that. Hang on. Let's do that. If you can see, hang on, there, like that. Can you see the bubbles that are forming in there? So, rightio, what we're going to do is we've got, now I'm using, yesterday I used just baker's flour. Today I'm using wholemeal flour. Let's see if I can do this without making a mess. No, cannot. Right, we'll go back to our funnel. And I've weighed out the flour, and I've already heated the 100 grams of water up to 37 degrees, and we're going to mix that together. And then we set it aside for another 12 hours. So we're right, so we're up to day 4, and this is the last lot of flour we're adding. It was 370 grams of flour and 400, hang on, can't remember, might have been 400. I'm going to go back to recipe details so I can read the ingredients again. 370 grams of flour and 400 grams of water. So, and we'll go back here. So this is the last lot of flour and water. So it's still not rising at all. I'm trying to trust the process. I am pretty sure when I made it, like I was trying to work out when I last used to make it, and it was yonks ago. It was maybe 8 years ago since I've made sourdough. I was going back through my photos trying to find a photo of some of my sourdough, because I used to take photos of everything, but I couldn't find it. But it must have been like, I don't know, 2014, 2015, maybe even later, when I last made sourdough. So anyway, I'm just trusting the process, but my memory is that, but I can't remember if this was feeding a starter to get ready to make a loaf of bread, or if it was actually creating the starter. And I thought it was like equal quantities of starter, flour and water, or if it was just so much starter and then equal quantities of flour and water. I can't remember. Anyway, so I'm just going to trust the process. I am ready to make another starter if this one doesn't work out. And I will treat this like discard, and I'll make, you know, some discard crackers or something with this, because it smells beautiful. It doesn't have any, it's got a slightly acidic smell, but it's not a rotten smell. It's a nice smell, so very bready. Anyway, so it says to place the bowl with the starter on the mixing bowl lid and weigh in 100 grams of rye flour. So I'm back to white flour today and set aside. And now we're going to heat up our 100 grams of water. And let's see. There's nothing in there. Oops, that's okay, that's a bit more. Next. 1 minute. Rightio. So we're going to put it in the jar with the flour and then mix it up, rightio. So and this is the last lot of water. I'll give that a really good stir. Now we're going to set it aside. It says at 25 degrees for approximately 8 to 12 hours, and stir the contents of the jar after 4 to 6 hours. Now, I will come back. I'll come back tomorrow. I'm going to leave this in the hands of my son to stir, because I've got to go to Emerald for the night. My daughter's coming in on a late night flight from South Australia, so I'm going to pick her and her son up off the plane, and then we're going to have a night in Emerald, go out for tea and that. So I'm going to leave this to my son to stir, and I'll be back tomorrow and we'll see what it looks like, and then I'll decide if we're going to go on. Okay, we're up to day 5. So I think it's definitely that microphone, because the sound's no good on this one either. So what I've decided is that the liquid on top means the starter is hungry. And I've got quite a lot of starter there now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split it into 2 lots. I am going to be making a couple of loaves of bread probably the first day, so it won't hurt me to have enough starter to make 2 loaves of bread. So I'm going to split it into 2 lots and feed them both, and just see if only using half the quantity of this starter will help. So I'm going to put half it into, I've got another bottle the same, and then I'm going to feed them both with 100 grams of flour and 100 grams of water warm to 37 degrees. And then I'm going to see how that works. I've got an awful lot to say here. I can't remember what I was talking about. But anyway, I think that's the most important information that I need to tell you about this one. So I'll leave it there, and we will come back tomorrow to see how our starter looks and decide what we're going to do. So here's a quick look at what our starter looks like at the beginning of day 6 before I start on it. Right, yeah, so this is what we were working with. So I'm now going to pop these in the fridge, and I'm going to call them the discard. So, and we've got lots of nice big bubbles now. And so I did a bit of reading and a bit of Googling, and what I found out is when they've got liquid on the top, like mine have had, that means they're hungry. That means they've run out of stuff to eat. So I'm thinking that because I wasn't using the right flour, they weren't getting fed enough, and also it was just going to be too much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this a stir, and I'm going to get rid of half it. Because, and this is what I'm going to do, I'm going to get rid of half it, then I'm going to feed it with the 100 grams of flour and the 100 grams of water, and see if we can get a nice healthy starter going. Because what we had today, by discarding most of it and just starting with a little bit, is probably the healthiest starter we've had yet. Rightio, so we're going to go, this is day 6, we're on day 6. So we're supposed to be able to have made a loaf of bread on day 6. But apparently if you use rye flour, it's a lot more, it'll get it going a lot faster. So we've got the 100 grams of water, and give that a stir. We're going to stir it in really well, and then I'll see what that's like in the morning. So I have bought some rye flour now. So if this is not, if this isn't what I need to do, I'm going to restart my starter. I'm going to just use this as discard. I can make crackers or something. Or there's lots of different recipes for sourdough discard. And we'll start again, but this time with rye flour. Rightio? So what's that? It is a little bit more. I should have discarded a bit more. It doesn't matter, that's fine. Rightio? Pop the lid on, and I'll leave that for tomorrow, and that'll be 12 hours later, and we'll see what it looks like. So that was the bubbles 12 hours after we fed it before. So rightio, I'll be back tomorrow. Rightio, so this is our sourdough starter. That's, I think that's like 24 hours. I can't remember what time I did it, if it was yesterday morning or yesterday afternoon, but it's starting to get a nice bubble to it. but it's also starting to form a tiny bit of liquid on the top, which according to YouTube and Google, that means it's hungry. So we're going to do what we did yesterday. We're going to put half it in here and keep that much. And then we're going to add, oh, what's that there? Let's take that out. Don't know what it is. Rightio. It's gone now anyway. We're going to add 100 grams of white flour. Well, this is bread flour. And then I've warmed 100 grams of water up to 37 degrees. And we're going to add that. Mix it really well. I am feeling a little bit encouraged with this starter, and I'm going to persevere. And in the meantime, I'm going to investigate a few recipes. I've already started on, for the discard, I've already started making a sourdough English muffin, and I'm doing a video of that. So I don't know which one will come out first, but rightio, I'm just getting all the leftovers off the bottom. Rightio. So now I'm going to leave that. I'll check that tonight before I go to bed and see what it looks like, and then first thing in the morning. But we might make like 12 o'clock our check and feed time each day, and see if we can get this starter going. Rightio. This is day 7, so it's not too bad. It's yeah. I suppose it could take 2 weeks to get this starter going properly, depending on your weather. I mean, it's been a bit cooler lately. So anyway, that's enough yabbering. I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, so now we're up to day 8. So what I'm going to do is these bottles are too big to go in my fridge, and once they're full, they're too heavy to go in the door. So I've cleaned a new bottle, and I'm going to transfer this discard into a new bottle, and I've got another one the same that's quite full as well, but I'll use it first. So yesterday we did some sourdough English muffins, sourdough discard, English muffins, and I want you to know that they were absolutely delicious. And for those of you that follow my channel, you do know that I like to have things in the freezer for quick, easy breakfast. So I've cut them all in half and then put them in the freezer. There's only like 5 left, but I've cut them all in half, put them in the freezer, and they're going to be easy grab and go breakfasts for me and my family. I mean, we can pull one out, throw it in the toaster, and I had it with creamed honey yesterday. It was absolutely delicious, and I found that we only need to lightly toast them. Anyway, that doesn't matter. So what I'm going to do here is I've heated this water up, but it's been sitting here for a while. So what I might do is I might give it, what do we give it, 20 seconds. And we'll give it another heat up. I'm going to discard like quite a bit of that. See, that's about half. You can see that. That's I can see it. Anyway, and then I'm going to, the other thing I did, let's just tap that, is I changed from one of these bottles to a wet jar, a tall wet jar, because I like the fact that the glass lid just sits on top without a seal, and we're not fighting with the chucks. And it's easier to give it a quick wash if it gets a bit gunky. So whereas the chucks you had to replace it. So we'll give that I'll give this a stir, and then I'm going to move the rubber band back to the top of the contents. Back to the top of, what would you say? Back to the level. Okay. Right, so that's about what we had yesterday. That's back to that top of that rubber band. Rightio. I will I'll wind this up. So that's the stage we're at, day 8. I'm hoping by the end of next week we will have an active starter that we can make our first loaf of bread with. Rightio? I'll let you know how I go. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, pop over to my channel and subscribe. And if you're interested, keep an eye out for my next video where I'll let you know whether we failed or succeeded with getting an active sourdough starter. If this doesn't work, I have got rye flour and I'm going to start a new one. Anyway, thanks for watching.